Ladies and gentlemen, Minnesota legend Kent Hrbek Sports is brought to you exclusively by Killebrew Old Fashioned Root Beer and Cream Soda at the ballpark, up north, or in your fridge. Mr. Hrbek with us.
Good morning.
What's happening, Pally?
A rainy day.
Rainy
Kind of
day.
a sad weekend coming up here. No more baseball, but I guess
Yep.
there's still baseball going on, but not from the hometown boys.
It's not baseball I care about in the least. If the Twins aren't in, I'm out. That's all I'm saying.
Well, we got the Wild to watch now, I guess, and the Vikings, but no, it was a fun run.
It was great. After 21 years of not winning a playoff game, that was really something to see. That was great. It was a very, very. The Toronto series obviously went brilliantly. The first couple of games, we were 1-1 there. And that first loss at home was hard to take, but you got to do what you got to do. Maybe next year. We'll get them next year, right?
Yeah, that's just what we want to hear here in Minnesota. Yeah.
Been hearing that too much, Kent? Is that what you're saying?
Right. Yeah, we've been hearing that too much. But you know what? These guys had a wonderful season. You know, I don't think anybody expected them to be where they were.
No.
And we know the division was a little weak, I guess they keep saying. But you know what? That's what you got to do is you got to go out and win your division and go from there. And that's exactly what they did. They played some good baseball. I think I talked about it before. We knew their pitching was good, but we wanted them to see if they get the offensive part of the game going, and they never did. Houston jumped out in front and you know, shut the crowd down a little bit. They kept coming back on the Twins. I mean, they took the lead in that second game there and at home, but Houston's got a heck of a ball club.
Yeah, they do.
But man, you look around the playoffs with the Dodgers gone and the Braves losing last night. Boy, it's and Baltimore getting beat by Texas.
Yeah,
holy smokes! This is a little different look. I think people are whoever had any kind of pools going on. I'm sure their pools aren't going to be very up to date here right now because there's definitely different teams in the playoffs, and it'll make it for a fun. You know, Houston's back, but it'll make it for a fun couple weeks here watching to see how these guys come out. But no, fun season by the Twins. Disheartening, but fun.
Well, disheartening. I'm wearing today, I know you're not on video, so I am wearing my Tom Bernard IQ 92 hat to kind of salute the end of the season. What do you think?
Very nice.
You know, watching you wear that for about 10 straight hours, try to get him to take it off. He wouldn't. Oh, you are an idiot, Tom. I'm going to wear this hat for a while. It's going to be perfect.
Did Johnny Gordon make it on with us this morning? I heard he was coming on.
3 minutes, about 3 minutes, Johnny Gordon. You know, I was trying to keep that a secret from you, that I'd like pop him on as a surprise. But apparently you can't surprise anybody anymore when you have a sales staff. He starts laughing.
No, you know what? I heard that he was coming on this weekend or this week, and boy, it's always fun to hear that magic voice that Gordo has, and got to see him here at the Twins Hall of Fame stuff this past August, and had some great conversations with John and his family, and it's always great to see Gordo at the ballpark, and it'll be fun to chat with him this morning.
You know what's so great about that, looking back, Kent, having been born in Minnesota, grew up in Minneapolis, St. Paul, you got your Johnny Gordons of the world and your Herb Carneals of the world. We've had so many great announcers in this town, just very, very nice people as well. And I didn't mention a number of them, but seriously, our announcers in this market have been really damn good, I think.
They have been awesome, and they've stuck around a long time.
Yeah.
You know, Herb Kearney, what was he, like 40 years or something with the Twins, or 30-some years with the Twins? Dick Bramer going on his 40th year.
What was
I'm drawing a blank. The hockey announcer for the North Stars. Come on, help me out.
Anybody know the hockey announcer? Because I didn't follow.
No.
I love a lot of hockey players, but I never followed hockey.
And
How can I forget? The guy was a classic. He was the best.
AJ's on the phone, and he might know.
Trongard,
Oh, Ron was
No.
great. Ron's a
Al
great guy.
Shaver,
AJ, we need your help.
There we go.
Was it Al Shaver?
Shaver?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, there you have it.
Everybody just went quiet. Like, who was that? He was classic.
It was true. Have we got a special guest with us, ladies and gentlemen? Please welcome the lovely and talented. Can I call you lovely and talented?
Well, yeah, that's okay.
John Gordon, ladies and gentlemen. I got to open with this, John, because I will never forget this as long as I live. I get a call one day from a couple of people, and they're going to meet at the Convention Grill, and John Gordon is there. So I sit down, and John and his son sit across from me, right? So we're
Yes.
sitting at the Convention Grill, the three of us sitting there, John Gordon, his son, and me. And John says to me, Tommy, I'd like you to meet my son. This is my son, Gordon. I said, you named your kid Gordon Gordon? I will never forget that as long as I live,
yeah.
John.
And actually, his full name here, I mean, his full name, his middle name is Gordon. So we nicknamed him Gordy. And I'm John Gordon. He's Gordy Gordon. And I have to tell you a cute story. Carl Pohlad, the owner of the Minnesota Twins, he actually said to me, he said, you mean to tell me you named your kid Gordy Gordon?
The same thing I said, right?
I know. And I had to tell him I'm sorry, but my last name is not Gordon. My middle name is Gordon. And so he's Gordy Gutowski. I'm
Yep.
John Gordon Gutowski. Not many people could say Gutowski very well. It's always Gutowski or Gutowski or whatever. So we went with John Gordon for the radio name, and Gordy Gordon is actually Gordy Gutowski, our son.
Wonderful story. But John, honest to God, I miss hearing you. Obviously, we've got great announcers have had over the years, but running into you guys over at the Convention Grill once in a while, and it was just such a great time. Talking to you here and there, listening to the games every day, watching them on television. What a great time that was and then Hrbek had to come along and ruin it. Wait a minute. Did I say that on the air?
It's funny you say
Well,
that.
How you doing, Johnny? How you doing,
Yeah,
Gordo?
hi, Herbie, how are you? There isn't any question that it was euphoric. I mean, this is a team that was floundering.
Yep.
Then all of a sudden, boom, they win. Not only do they win during the regular season, but they win during the playoffs. They win during the World Series. And really, from the time of winning in the World Series in '87 to the time of winning the World Series in '91, there was still an immense, following of Minnesota Twins baseball, even though 88, 89, 90, they were not, World Series winners.
No, you're absolutely right. Just such great. Honest to God, Kent, isn't it amazing? You just hear John Gordon's voice and you get those memories. Now, obviously, you were on the field and I was watching every game or listening to every game, whatever it was. But man, just hearing your voice, John, brings back so many great moments of Minnesota Twins baseball.
I got to ask Gordo this. I guess I've never asked you this question, Gordo, and everybody always, comes up to you. What's your greatest memory of playing Twins baseball? You got to try to come up with Detroit, coming home from Detroit. My first game, hitting a home run in my first game, winning a World Series, hitting a grand slam in a World Series, blah 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 blah. What is John Gordon's favorite memory of behind the mic, sitting up there in the booth? I've got an idea, maybe.
Yeah.
But and I used to bug you, John, and my daughter Heidi used to say the same thing. You always used to holler, "Swing!"
Oh yeah.
My daughter loved it.
Yep.
That's how my daughter knows John Gordon, with the swing call that he had. But Gordon, what's your favorite memory of sitting behind that mic for so many years?
Well, it is a very true story. Whenever I see Heidi, I don't say, "Hi, Heidi." I just say, "Swing and a miss." And she laughs. I'm glad that I do know her, her first name. Well, Puck's home run in Game 6, having the opportunity to be at the microphone. And certainly, I always remember reading that it was probably, and still is, one of the 15 most historic home runs hit in the game. And, to have that opportunity to be there and actually to be so fortunate as to not screw it up to where, it ended up being a decent call. Not an easy call. As you can well remember, both of you, the plexiglass was up and from left field, all the way around. There were white shirts behind. Puck was rounding the bases, and a very intense moment in the bottom of the 11th inning. So it had certainly a lot going, and that alone probably was the greatest thrill. But all that happened in that 87 season, and even in the 91 season, the difference of the two teams and the makeup of the two teams, and being in Atlanta and the opportunities that the Twins had there and didn't cash in on, but yet had to come back home. And it was a very, very thrilling time, both 87 and 91.
And Gordo, you weren't around here this weekend or this week, I guess, during the last couple of games the Twins played here at home. It was quite the feeling at the ballpark. We had spent the games. We were up in the suite. Gary Gaetti was in town. Joe Mauer was here at the ballpark. Justin Morneau. Rod Crew showed up and he was there. We're all sitting up in the suite and just talking old memories of exciting games and this and that. But the electricity at the ballpark, I hadn't seen it yet at Target Field, was the best I've seen it. And what is it, 13 years now that they've been playing at Target Field. The fans went crazy, and it was really, really heartwarming to see that. It got the hair to stand up on the back of my neck, which it hadn't happened in the 14 years we've been here so far. That the fans got into it, and I know when you're a player sitting in that dugout, and you don't hear it as much as you feel it. You could feel the noise, like we did in the dome, but you can feel those people, and it really, really jacks you up, and it's too bad they didn't go any farther, because I don't know how crazy these people could have got, but it was really, really exciting to see to hear the noise, to feel the noise, and to see Target Field rocking. It was a lot of fun. So I just want to pass that along to you, because I'm sure you saw it. I'm sure you watched the ball games on TV.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know you still follow the club a little bit.
Yeah.
But it was
question for
exciting.
you. Yeah. Interesting question for you, Kent. The noise factor in the Metrodome of the two World Series, 87 and 91, were extremely big stories. I can remember ABC was doing the World Series. Al Michael had the noise meter from the airport in the booth to calibrate the noise in the Metrodome. Was there a difference of the noise between the Metrodome in 87-91 and Target Field in 2023?
It was a little different, because the noise was getting out. The noise couldn't get out in the dome. The noise stayed inside. It stayed in there. It was trapped in there. We, even on the field during the games down there, you couldn't communicate at all with anybody. I mean, you couldn't, unless you stood right next to somebody and screamed in their ear. If there was a pop-up or something, boy, you really had to, visually know what was going on. And I think that's what helped us out. We, at the Dome, we really played well defensively because of, the communication we had just by looking and seeing and knowing where the other guy was going to be, or where whoever was going to be. So, it's definitely a different take, because, like you say, you can't hear a guy calling you off on a pop-up, or, where you're supposed to be, wherever, during a play. So, it definitely makes a big, huge difference at times. And Target Field was getting there. It was getting rocking. Believe me.
Yeah, no doubt about that. John, one thing I got to tell you, as a fan of the Minnesota Twins or baseball, sports in general, to have a guy up there. Now, first of all, people who may be a bit younger will not maybe even know about this, but before John and after John, and John certainly was a legend like the rest of them. But from the time I was 9 years old and heard, the Herb Carneals of the world and the Halsey Halls of the world, and then the John Gordons of the world, and then hear Krabby Dan Gladden doing the games, But John, it was a big, big part of the game. That touch 'em all thing that you did was so cool because you did it with such enthusiasm. Man, I felt the home runs going out every time you hollered touch 'em all. It was just wonderful.
Well, I was very fortunate. The fact that in '87 the Twins had 4 players that hit 30 or more home runs, and almost at a fifth. I think Puck was at either 28 or 29. There were a lot of home runs hit.
Yep.
And that was an opportunity, for a kind of a catch-all phrase. And certainly, it's a phrase that has been used in baseball in years past. I know Dick Enberg used it when he was with the Los Angeles Angels or California Angels and some of the others. But you got to have a home run to say touch them all. And the Twins hit home runs. I can't imagine what the Atlanta Braves broadcasters would have been like this year if they had used touch them all, because, they hit as many home runs as they did, nearly, set a new record, tied the Twins. But that was, really an opportunity that just came about simply because, the Twins had Hrbek and Brunansky and Gaetti and the rest, to hit 30 or more home runs to really help out. It was I guess a blessing in disguise.
I guess so. The check's in the mail, Gordo.
Is that the deal right there?
Yeah.
What a wonderful time that was, and still is. Being a Minnesota Twins fan is very near and dear to me. There's no doubt about that. But the great memory, John, it's so funny hearing your voice on the show this morning. All of these different calls that you made over the years are starting to pop into my head, man. There's about 1,000 of them, so I can't start chirping them out because this show would go on until about next Wednesday.
Yeah.
I found one that is over a Kent Hrbek at bat.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, boy.
Strike one. Oh, boy, he sure looked bad swinging at that pitch.
Uh-oh.
Even though he was sixth in the American League at hitting right-handers, he was facing for the first time after the 7th inning at home. So that's something to keep in mind.
Thank God, I love it. I love it.
Perfect.
John Gordon saying Kent Hrbek sucks. That was wonderful.
No, that's from the timeless classic Little Big League, where just such a good movie. Such a good movie. I had to pull that up. I'm glad we could work that in.
Hey, I just want to mention that in honor of being on this show today, I would like to use my last Little Big League residual check, which I just got about 10 days ago. I haven't even cashed it as yet. Let me look it up so I can give you the exact amount of the check.
Ooh.
And I'd like to buy you guys a drink at the local beer stand. $37.30.
Hey.
Yeah.
Touchdown, baby. Okay, I'll take care of her.
That's 2 beers at Hrbek.
That's very, very true. This is going to sound kind of weird to you guys, and I'm not trying to get too, soapy here or whatever. But one thing that I always look back on, because this happened 1 year after I took that job at KQRS, 1 year later, because I predicted that year the Twins would win the World Series before before the season even started. But looking back at that, sitting here talking to you guys this morning, it's one of those things. I'd like to be like everybody else in the world now and sit around and go, oh my God, I'm a victim. Life sucks. And it's all just horrible. I sit here and think about, and I look at my life and go on, I got to know John Gordon. I got to know Kent Hrbek. You get on the list of guys, you were talking about the Johnny Castinos of the world, Gary Gaetti and Timmy Laudner. I am the luckiest man on earth, just sitting here listening to you two guys talk. I feel like a luckiest sumbitch ever born. I do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like I told you before, Tom, you got to set your standards a little higher.
Very true. It's hard to answer the comment that you just made, Tom, but I think it's it's part of the business, and that are good. There's good. There's bad. There's opportunities to put your foot in the door and try to make a name for yourself. I mean, it all just kind of opens up, and you have to feel very blessed to have the opportunity to. I always used to say the job I had beat working for a living. Because it was something that I enjoyed doing. I have to tell you, I'm very extremely pleased that I was able to walk away from the game. And, I hope for you, Tom, you'll be able to walk away from the microphone, and Herbie, the same for you. Even though you are retired now from your playing career, you're still very active with the Twins, and someday you'll be able to walk away from it. And I'm living the dream in Florida and enjoying every bit of it. I still have the memory of being a broadcaster for the Minnesota Twins for 25 years, and I'll never lose that memory, and I just will cherish it for every living day I have.
Now, when you're down there on the golf course and you're playing with 3 other guys in the foursome, say your friend Joe, let's say, is playing with you, and he fires one off into the woods. You go swing, and that one goes into the woods. You holler that at him. Does it come back to you once in a while or not?
Yeah, but it's kind of funny. I love the game, and I still follow the game. I don't relate as much as I used to the game because it's changed. I think all of us will agree on that. And certainly the players have changed. I know a few of the star players, but don't relate to the guys that are better than average or average players that help teams win. But we have 3 bag drop guys who are just, die-hard baseball fans, and they'll ask me one day, boy, what'd you think of that game Gallen pitched last night? I got to think, who the hell is Gallen? Where does he pitch? And fortunately, I do follow it enough to know that, that D-backs right-hander is a good one. I think he's got a chance to help them win. So that kind of keeps me abreast of the game, and every time I see them 3-4 days a week, boy, they drill me with a baseball question, and I hope I have the answer for them.
Well, I know, John, that you loved your art and you worked hard at it. People said you were always so well prepared. You guys got tons of information sent up to you in the booth up there. Hammer was helping you out all the time in the booth up there. I know that.
Oh yeah,
with different stats and everything. So I know your head was full of numbers while you were calling the game. You guys worked. I mean, it was a class for you guys every day because you had to have those stats ready and all that kind of stuff. So I know how hard you guys worked up there in the booth and Danny as well. When you called it with Danny's still doing it, of course, but Danny Gladden. But it's amazing. Tom and the listeners, how those guys up in the booth, they just don't sit there and talk about the game. They got sheets of papers laid out in front of them with all these different stats going on, and you try to, I know you sit up there and try to tell a story about this guy or that guy, and you got to be right on with all your numbers, or somebody's going to catch you and say, hey, that's not right. But they work hard at their craft, and it's pretty cool to see those guys work up there in the booth at times. It's really fun to watch him call a game. I know John used to sit there and stare at the ballpark. I'd walk into the booth sometimes when the game was going on, and boy, the place could be on fire in the booth, but John would be staring at that game, calling the game, and so it's pretty cool that the way they go about their calling the game. They're not just sitting back there, with a soda in their hand and watching the ball game and just talking about it. You got a lot of stuff going on in there.
I made reference to Dick Enberger a little bit earlier, and I was very fortunate. He was a mentor, and as was another great announcer, Ernie Harwell, with the Orioles and the Tigers, and both of them told me that organization and preparation are the keys to a broadcast, and be prepared. And all the work that you do to probably use all but 40% of what you prepare and what you organize, you just can't fit it all in. Vin Scully one day when I was over in Atlanta and he just getting started, he said, if I could give you a piece of advice, the best piece of advice I could give you is that silence is your best partner in baseball. And, don't try to, blab all day long about how much you think you know about the game. Put the guy in the seat with a popcorn and a beer and a hot dog on the side and try to make him enjoy, listening to Twins baseball.
This is just another example of, again, the dream life that I've had. I'll give you an example of the kind of class that we're talking about here with Kent Hrbek and John Gordon. 1987, we used to play charity football games at the Dome, and people would come and watch the games, and we'd raise money and give it to charity, and it's a great time. And there were a couple of Twins on those teams. There were like Greg Gagne from professional wrestling. You had Chuck Foreman played on the team, one of the greats of all time. So the Twins win the World Series in 1987. They have won the World Series. A lot of celebrating going on, all the rest of it. Well, we had a football game the next day at the Dome, and 20,000 tickets were sold. So a lot of people were coming to watch this game. And I thought, gee, that's too bad. Laudner and Gary Gaetti were, like I said, playing on team. We're about to start the game, and I look up, and here comes Laudner and Gaetti. I said,
no way.
You just won the World Series last night. What are you doing? They go, well, we're on the team. We had to show up. I'm like, Look at my life, for Christ's sake. I got 2 World Series champions standing next to me about ready to play football. I mean, that's the kind of class you guys had. Don't you think, Kent?
Well, I mean, we had a group of guys that enjoyed the Twin Cities. We loved it here. We hung out together. I mean, there's a lot of times we went out for dinner on the road together. There'd be 8, 9 guys in the group going out to eat, and we enjoyed the fans. We had fun. We interacted with them, I thought, as much as anybody did. Everybody had different things they had to do, different charities we worked for, and you try to do as much as you can for everybody, and give back to the community a little bit. But I guess those 2 boys must have had they had a commitment to make, so they showed up the next day for it. Yeah,
there's no question.
Pretty cool.
I know you guys both have to go, but Kent, if you could just tell John Gordon about the man walking up to you on the street and he called you by the wrong name. It's one of my favorite stories that Kent Hrbek has ever told.
The Kirby Puckett one?
You got it.
The one at the State Fair? I don't know if I told you that one, John. The guy was adamant that I was Kirby Puckett. And finally, his 2 little daughters went over to him and said, Dad, that's not Kirby Puckett. That's Kent Hrbek. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure you got called Herb Carneal a few times too, John.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, I do have to tell you this one quick story. We're in Milwaukee County Stadium, and this is '87, and I'm trying to make sure that that I'm there, that I belong, that the team kind of likes me, and so I'm walking down this runway from County Stadium. And Hrbek is down at the dugout end of the runway, holding a hose. And as I'm walking down the runway, he says, "Hey, Gordo, how's it going?" He turns the hose on, and here I am. In '87, I used to wear a tie for the broadcast every game. And next thing I know, I'm just soaking wet.
Oh.
Hrbek sprinkling me for this hose that the ground crew had used to avoid. I said, well, as disgusted and as mad as I was, I finally said to myself, I think the guys kind of like me.
Well, welcome to the show, Johnny. Welcome to the big.
You got it.
Exactly.
John, you got to come back, man. Like I said, I spent a lot of time with you having a little lunch over there, whether it was with Gordy or, like I said, Gladden used to be over there all the time having lunch. But thank you both for giving me one of the greatest memories of my life. Watching you guys together win the World Series in 1987 was unbelievable. It was great.
Well, just a small part of
it. Fun time. There's no question. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate you asking me to be on.
Oh, please come back, John.
All right. Take care. See you, Herbie.
Good to chat with you, Johnny. Have a good one.
Okay.
Hey,
right, take care.
Tommy, I also got to tell Jimmy Lundeen thank you very much with taking care of us with the Killebrew root beer and sponsoring the show. That's pretty cool. They've done a great job, and we'll have to fire up some more root beer next year during the season. I think the guys are going the right way. The club's going the right way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they surprised us a little bit here, and I think sounds like we're going to get everybody back that we need next year, and hopefully we can make another run and have some more fun on Friday mornings chatting baseball with you.
You think Sonny Gray will be back because he's up?
That's going to be it. They're going to take a look at that.
Yep.
What it wouldn't be. Hopefully they can squeeze them into the lineup. I think it's something they need to look at, and that's the hard part for them now is to try to figure out what they're going to throw together. But I think the nucleus of this ball club is looking good. Got a bunch of good young players. Things should look good.
No question. And if you think you're just going to get away from me and all the way until like next April, that ain't going to happen.
I'll be around. You know that.
All right, Pally. Thank you so much, Kent. Another great year. Another great year.
All right. Great, guys. Thanks, everybody. Thanks,
Love you, Kent.
All right. Thanks, Brett. See ya.
Kent Hrbek Sports on the Tom Bernard Show was presented by Killebrew Old Fashioned Root Beer and Cream Soda. Find a store near you at killebrewrootbeer.com. And he's right. He's absolutely right, as a matter of fact. Just the sponsorship, just a great family, no question about it. And I would say right across the board, thank you to everybody for bringing us Kent, the Kent Hrbek Show for all those months every year. So what, 6.5 months, something like that?
We can't go that long without seeing him. I will die.
I agree.
He's
I couldn't agree more.
literally my favorite person on the show, and including myself. Like, he's amazing. I love Kent Hrbek. That was such a cool segment.
Don't tell Hrbek I told you this story, okay?
Okay.
I know we got to get going, but I ran into Hrbek one time, and I had just been told by a couple of his Twins teammates that some guy forced Kent off the road because he was mad at something that Kent did. The guy rushes over, and apparently Kent gets out of the car and keeps getting out of the car and keeps getting out of the car because he's about 6'5",
Yeah.
so it takes a while. And I said, Kent, he's on the morning show. I said, Kent, is that true? You pasted some guy on the side of the road? He goes, what? I said, I heard you smoked some guy on the side of the road. He goes, oh, shit happens.
I love that. He is such a shit that would be his tagline.
Guy.
Shit happens guy. He is salt of the earth, my favorite guy. I love him.
But this is one of the examples, again, why I could never sit at home and go, oh, God, life sucks. Everything's terrible. I'm a victim. I'm suffering. Look at this. I mean, what a dream come true for a little 9-year-old kid who watched his first baseball game, Minnesota Twins out at the old Met Stadium. Every time I hear those guys' voices, I just am reminded of what a lucky sumbitch I really am.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. Oh, God, we're a little behind.
Whatever. It's fine.
We'll take a break. Be right back. Timmy Lammers will join. And thank you again to John Gordon. What a nice – he has always been such a nice man.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Hrbek's okay. Yeah.
That was an awesome segment. That was really cool.
Yeah. I loved it so much. Can't even tell you.